that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. Afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Wellness Wednesday when we talk about a subject of importance to your health and well-being. I'm going to bring you a lot of information today, but of course, this is interactive. So if you have a question, just give us a call. Let us know that you would like some clarification, and I'll do my best to help you out. The numbers to call 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0271, or 326-0272, 326-0272, 326-0272. And the WhatsApp line is 801-0271. 801-0271 is the WhatsApp number to send us a message, not call. I say that every show, and just about every show, somebody calls. So do not call the WhatsApp line. That is strictly for messages only, via text. But the actual number to call if you want to get in on the show, 326-0271 or 326-0272. So on the show today, we are going to be talking about a subject that has been getting a lot of attention as of late in the health and wellness fields, but it's been around since, a long time, from biblical days. And I am talking about fasting and its impact on your health. Because fasting is something that is beneficial not just from a spiritual perspective, but as you're going to learn in this show today, it has huge benefits on your health, and not just losing that extra 5 pounds you've been struggling to lose. But it goes so much deeper than just that. Your body responds very, very well to fasting. And you're going to learn the science behind that today. And perhaps the information that you receive today will be enough to encourage some of you to give fasting a try. Because, fasting is a dirty word to some people. You tell them they need to put down their plate and they will slap you and them up. They're like, what? You want me to do what? I can't do this. But it's not as hard as you think. Most of it, I would say, is mental. And I'm speaking from experience. I'm somebody who has done short fasts and extended fasts over the period of my lifetime. And I've done full fast where it's like water, tea, and juice only. And I've done partial fasts where it's vegetables only. And I've done daylight fasts, which are now being referred to as intermittent fasting. We're going to learn more about that. So you name it, and I've done it as it relates to fasting. The Bible talks about how Jesus fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. And again, this is going to be a scientific show today, but from a spiritual perspective, there is nothing, I think, that can make you more aware and more in tune to the spirit realm than fasting. It's a very powerful tool. I've experienced it. Longest I've ever gone, full fast, tea, water, maybe a little cranberry juice. It's 14 days. 14 days straight, no solid food. That's a call already? Wow. Caller, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Well, listen, Michelle, one thing I hate is you hear these nice little soft voice guys talk with such, I don't know if it's evil or just ignorance the way they talk. But the pastor, my Lord, he's a pastor. God, tell me, how could a man who plays it straight survive in such corruption? I mean,
What are you talking about, caller?
the guy who just called us now.
You called the wrong show. Ain't nobody called you. My first caller. This is a Wellness Wednesday today. We're talking health today.
Oh my God, I'm listening to you right now.
Yeah, but you my first caller, so I don't know what
Oh,
you're
I
talking about.
think I'm on Facebook and I'm listening to a repeat show.
Probably.
You were talking about that the thing at the airport.
No, that
But
was
I'm sorry, I
that's
didn't wanna-
yesterday. That's yesterday.
Sorry, I am so sorry, man.
Okay.
I apologize.
All righty. Yes. Okay. Back to the subject at hand. Bertha's laughing. We're talking fasting today. And like I was saying, the longest that I've ever gone, full fast, no solid food, was 14 days. And you may say, how did you survive without food for 14 days? Well, I'll tell you the trick. And the more often you do it, the easier it gets. But if you can get past the first 3 days, you're good. It's just those first 3 days that your body fights you. Because your body really, doesn't like you to deny it of what it wants. But fasting is good for the body, not just the soul. And you're going to learn about the body aspect of it today on today's show. So, have you ever noticed that if you're a pet owner, let's say you have a dog, have you ever noticed that when your dog gets sick, dog isn't feeling well, you can hardly get that dog to eat anything? You try to get it to eat and it won't eat. It won't eat. The most that dog would probably do is go out and start chewing on the grass. Have you ever seen that? And that's because the dog seems to know something instinctively that we humans have yet to really figure out. The dog seems to instinctively know that if I'm not feeling well, I need to restrict my intake of food so that my body can deal with this thing. Bertha says, yes. Yeah, Bertha, dogs know. They will not eat if they don't feel well. And you try to get them to eat and they will not eat. But they'll go outside and they'll start chewing on grass. And we call them the dumb animals. But in many ways, they're more intelligent than we are. The dog instinctively knows of the power of fasting. And hopefully at the end of this show today, you will too understand what a powerful tool fasting is towards the betterment of your health. So I'm going to take this approach today. First, I'm going to outlay for you, and I have a lot of clips today, but they're all worth listening to. If you are on Facebook, like and share the show, let everybody know that we're on a Wellness Wednesday and we're talking about a subject that, especially if they're going through any kind of chronic non-communicable disease like type 2 diabetes or heart disease or, rheumatoid arthritis or cancer, this is going to cover it all. Okay. I'm going to approach the show in this way. First, we're going to talk about the benefits of fasting to the body. And I've found quite a few clips from different experts in the field, some who have done studies, clinical trials, etc. And then once we look at the benefits, we're going to listen to a couple of opposing sides from the scientists who all agree that fasting is good. There's no disagreement there. But there is some debate as to what type of fasting is best or what duration of fasting is best. So we're going to hear a couple of sides of that argument. And then I'm going to spend the rest of the show giving you some tips on how you can safely fast for the betterment of your health from, one of my favorites, Dr. Berg. He has several videos on fasting. I picked just one, and we're breaking it into pieces, and we're going to allow him to guide us through what you do if he's going to tell us more about how you can fast. And then the final part of the show will be about the making sure that you understand how to avoid the misconceptions and misinformation as it relates to fasting and what to do and what not to do, because you could actually harm yourself if you do this the wrong way. Okay, so let us begin. Our very first clip is going to be talking about the benefits of long-term fasting. And this is from one of the scientists in a clinic in Germany that specializes in teaching people how to live longer, healthier lives, incorporating as a major part of that the whole idea of fasting. Let's see. I think I need you to play the first one for me, please, Jason. My laptop is freezing. So take a listen to this.
We in the Buchinger Wilhelmi clinics come from a long tradition of 100 years of clinical fasting, medical fasting. Of course, only in the last decades, we have started making observational studies in humans in large groups. The largest one was published in PLOS ONE in 2019 with almost 1,500 people fasting 5 days, 10 days, 15 days, or 20 days. The founder of this clinic, Otto Buchinger, was a medical doctor who cured himself from a rheumatic fever, very acute and severe disease of all the joints, who made him invalid. He was not able to move anymore. And in only 90 days of fasting, he could recover his old joints and the mobility for the rest of his long life. And now, in the last 20 years, I got in touch with this fabulous research on longevity, approaching long-term fasting, at least in our clinics, from the perspective of enhancing life and enhancing lifespan in good health, and all the metabolic and genetic effects that have been studied in our time. And this is totally new. When you fast, we know what is happening on the metabolic endocrinologist point of view. Insulin, so the sugar goes down, insulin goes down, the non-esterified fatty acids goes up, glucagon, growth hormone goes up, adrenaline, cortisol sometimes. And then you have a phase where you are in ketosis, and this is maintaining for a long time. And then you have a phase where you go back to food. And there are also a lot of positive effects on regeneration of your tissues. The topic of long-term fasting is something that is not yet as well studied as the intermittent fasting, but at least at the beginning of a long fast, you have the same mechanism. You have the same metabolic switch, you have the same genetic switch, the mTOR, the RAS are inhibited because you have no protein, you have no sugar or very little. And this is leading to the ketosis with the whole effects on inflammation, diminishing the oxidative stress, improving the antioxidant metabolism, and having a lot of effects that lead to treat 3 or 4 groups of disease. The first one is the metabolic diseases, of course, overweight, metabolic syndrome, consisting in hypertension, diabetes type 2 or insulin resistance, lipid abnormalities, blood lipid abnormalities, glucose metabolism abnormalities, and leading to cardiovascular diseases. With fasting, you can get rid of all these things. And of course, to maintain the results, you have to change your lifestyle, eat differently, etc. So the second group is all the group of chronic inflammatory diseases. And fasting might not be enough, but it can already extremely decrease the symptoms, decrease the pains, improve the mobility, and make life much more qualitative. And then we have a group of the mood enhancement conditions. So if you have a pre-burnout, if you have a depressive mood, if you have just a moment where you have no drive anymore, having a fast can just give you the kick to be fit again and to just wake up in the morning and feel like living again. And then there is a whole group of pathologies that you are treating now with short-term fasting, with ketogenic diets, with calorie restriction, with a lot of strategies, nutritional strategies, most of the time restrictive, who will lead to improvement of epilepsy, eventually the prevention of Alzheimer, of multiple sclerosis, of Parkinson, well, the group of the neurological diseases, and probably cancer. At least it has been already showed that in animal models, periods of fasting were allowing to diminish considerably the side effects of chemotherapy, so that the association of fasting regimens for short-term, repeatedly every day, or longer periods, which has to be still well documented in humans, more or less supplemented, would certainly be a tool, an important tool in tomorrow's and today's medicine. Maybe a new paradigm where you can either use nutritional strategies in a very therapeutic purpose, sometimes curative purpose, or use them as a complement of conventional treatment to diminish side effects or to enhance the power of these treatments.
So you heard that long list of conditions that she said fasting can, make an impact on. Amazing. This is so much more than just about losing a couple of pounds. And that list was extensive. Many of those non-communicable diseases, somebody who's battling one of them, or you yourself are. And if you have not incorporated fasting into your arsenal to try to beat that thing, then hopefully this show will give you some information that will prompt you to consider adding fasting to the mix. Essentially, what fasting does and how it achieves all of that is it cleanses our body of toxins and forces cells into processes that are not usually stimulated when a steady stream of fuel from food is always present. So you have to not believe that if you are not eating, then you're starving, because you're not starving if you're not eating. What happens is, instead of burning the fuel of the food that you intake, the body then starts to, if you do this correctly, the body then starts to eat its storage of fat. So it's eating from itself. So it's not that you're starving. You may get hunger pangs, especially at the beginning. Fasting for beginners, you definitely are going to feel it, and your body's going to fight you. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. I'm telling you from experience. And very much of it is a mental thing, because, when I am not fasting, if I dash out of the house, I haven't decided that I'm going to do a fast today. I dash out of the house, I didn't have breakfast or whatever. By midday, I am famished. I am looking for the first thing I can put my hands on. But there are 2 times when that doesn't happen to me. Number one, when I'm really immersed into a project that I'm working on that has me so, has such a grip on my attention that I don't remember to eat and don't even feel it until later that day. I'm like, did I eat today? Because that's my personality. I dive into what I'm working on, to the degree that sometimes I won't even eat and not even realize it until later that day. Or when I have made a conscious decision that I'm going on a fast. Because all of a sudden, once I've made that decision, and I think it's because I've done it multiple times over the years, that my body instinctively knows, use your bottle with hunger pangs, because she ain't jacking about, she on a fast. And I don't go through that thing of getting hungry when I have decided to go on a fast. So a lot of it has to do with your mental, your mental capacity, your mental drive to control the urges of the body. Because, like I said, if I have decided that I'm going on a fast, I don't deal with hunger anymore, even from day one. Whereas if I don't decide I'm going on a fast and I'm just running around and didn't eat, I'm hungry. And my body lets me know, you got to eat. And so that says to me that a lot of this has to do with your whole mental approach to it. When we feel that, or should I say, when we fast, the body does not have its usual access to glucose. And so it forces the cells to resort to other means and materials to produce energy. And as a result, the body begins a natural process of producing its own sugar to burn off. The liver helps by converting non-carbohydrate materials like lactate, amino acids, and fats into glucose energy. Because our bodies conserve energy during fasting, our basic metabolic rate, the amount of energy that our bodies burn while resting, becomes more efficient. And thereby, it lowers our heart rate and our blood pressure. So if you are a person battling blood pressure issues, fasting is a good thing for you. Ketosis is another process that occurs later into the fasting cycle. And we're going to learn a lot more about all of this in detail from Dr. Berg. And this happens when the body burns stored fat as the primary source of power. And this is the ideal mode for weight loss and balancing blood sugar levels. So even if you do what is called intermittent fasting, Dr. Berg recommends that you do it in conjunction with a ketogenic diet. This is a wonderful, healthy way for you to burn excess fat and lose weight without doing anything harmful to the body. Now, clearly, when you're talking about fasting, you have to know what you're doing, because if you don't, you will run the risk of hurting yourself, of harming yourself. And so it is very, very critical that once you decide to go on a fast, you have to make sure that you are hydrated, make sure that you're getting sufficient liquids. And when I say liquids, I'm not talking soda pop. That doesn't count. No, you don't drink soda pop when you're fasting. I'm talking good, clean water, herbal teas, not with sugar. Raw honey is good. You can use raw honey to sweeten it, or stevia is even better. But herbal tea is fantastic because you want to, especially first thing in the morning, you want to take tea, something warm, to go into your stomach. You don't want to start the day off with ice cold water. As a matter of fact, when you're fasting, you shouldn't be drinking cold water. It needs to be room temperature water. You can actually harm yourself by drinking cold beverages during a fast. Now, how many of you knew that everybody fasts? Whether you realize it or not, we all fast. What are you talking about, Michelle? Well, every time you go to sleep at night, you're actually fasting while you're sleeping. And that's why the first meal of the following day is called break fast, because you're actually breaking the fast that you did overnight while you were sleeping. So everybody fasts. But we're talking going beyond those hours that you're sleeping, stretching that time out further than just those 4 hours or 6 hours or 8 hours, however long you sleep, so that you can get even more benefits from fasting. They have found that fasting can contribute to better health to the degree that it can significantly extend your life. And not just you living a longer life, but you living a longer, healthier life. And that is the goal. If we're going to grow older, it makes sense that we grow older, but are healthier, not old and sick and tired. And there has been significant evidence, scientific evidence, to show that as you fast, particularly for longer periods, you are actually extending your lifespan. And there are a couple of spots on planet Earth where this is more evident than others, and we're going to look at that. But I want to just talk about some types of fasting before we go into the longevity of it. There are 3 types of fasting that calorie restriction that have demonstrated positive effects on longevity. They are time-restricted feeding, and this is a process of limiting calorie intake to a specific time frame that aligns with our natural rhythm. And this often is referred to as our body clock, and the natural cycle that tells our bodies when to sleep, when to wake up, when to eat, and more. And so eating meals only during an 8 to 12 hour period each day, while fasting, say between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., for instance, is an example of aligning with our natural rhythms, and body systems work better when synchronized with one another. So midnight snacking, for instance, when our body usually sleeps, throws off our natural system of repair. And so our bodies, this form of fasting gives our bodies more time to repair, which is beneficial to health. The second type of fasting is intermittent calorie restriction. And you're going to hear a lot more about that from Dr. Berg, so I won't go into too much detail explaining that, because he's going to explain all of that a little later in the show. And then you've got periodic fasting, with fasting mimicking diets. And you're going to hear more about that in the next segment of the show as well. So we're going to take a quick break. And then on the other side, we're going to dive into fasting, and you're going to learn more about these fast mimicking diets. And we're going to hear several scientists who have different opinions as to which is more effective. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. Stay with us. This is GPS on a Wellness Wednesday.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Youngevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, paint, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, rough racing, velocity, mud, all-terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Less is love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Youngevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company on this Wellness Wednesday. And we are talking about the benefits of fasting, turning down the plate. Yes, it is possible to do so without dying, people. Matter of fact, it will benefit you greatly to help extend your life. The numbers to call, 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and our WhatsApp line is 8010271, 8010271. All right, so some of the benefits of fasting: boosting cognitive performance, protecting from obesity and associated chronic diseases, reducing inflammation, improving overall fitness, supporting weight loss, decreasing the risk of metabolic diseases, benefiting cancer patients, and extending one's life. In this clip, we are going to find out how you can fast your way all the way to 100.
Malocchio is a blue zone. These are regions of the world where people live much longer and healthier than the average. The oldest person recorded here was Salvatore Caruso. He's what you'd call a super centenarian, having made it to 110. He passed away in 2015, but not before assisting those in search of eternal youth.
I think Salvatore has been an inspiration, right, to say, well, I followed this person for the last 50 years of his life or so, and he made it to 110 healthy. So I've seen 110 healthy. I've seen it with him, but it's not going to be doable for the entire world population. It's going to be doable, I think, for the people that listen and follow all the right moves.
Valter Longo has spent the past 2 decades identifying the optimum foods and fasting practices for living healthier and longer. Now he's preparing for his largest human study to date, here in a remote Italian town famous for centenarians.
This clinical trial that was just funded by the European community is going to take 500 people, and it's going to split them into 2, and it's going to allow half of them to sort of have the bad modern habits that are very different from those of the centenarians. So we take half of them and we let them have this Western-like diet, and we take the other half and we bring them back to the longevity diet.
Longo created the longevity diet by combining scientific research and lab work with the study of centenarians around the world. Longo will also be testing his fasting mimicking diet, which offers the benefits of prolonged fasting without having to actually fast.
Fasting has been done for thousands of years, of course, but we now have to move away again from these ideas, words like eating or fasting. They both mean very little, and move into exactly what do we eat and how do we fast. So it shouldn't be about, now we're going to turn everybody into a biohacker and use technology and distort everything. Instead, we should learn from the past and unite that with the science.
Intermittent fasting, time-restricted feeding, and calorie restriction are just some of the popular methods being adopted. And while cutting down on meals has long been viewed as a weight loss hack, it's increasingly being practiced as a measure to delay the aging process and stave off chronic diseases that accompany it. Studies have shown it has the potential to protect against a range of age-related diseases, diabetes, heart disease, and cognitive decline, to name a few. But one hurdle remains. Very few people want to do it.
Have you done it yourself?
I've done it myself, yes. I've fasted for 4 days several times, and to me it was very tough, yeah.
Longo began his research in the early 90s, identifying the genes associated with aging and how nutrients affect them. Longo tested different fasting methods and their effect on longevity in organisms ranging from yeast to mice to humans. He found that cycles of fasting and refeeding cause multi-system regeneration, enhanced cognitive performance, and the potential to prevent and treat disease.
It's hard to imagine something that would do more to a person than fasting if you look at gene expression. So if you look at how the genes are activated or not.
One of the key mechanisms at play is a process known as autophagy, which literally means self-eating. During autophagy, cells destroy viruses and bacteria and get rid of damaged structures in order to regenerate newer, healthier cells. Damaged cells can speed up aging and lead to cancer if they're not destroyed, so this process is vital to health and lifespan. The best known way to activate autophagy in humans is fasting.
We started with water-only fasting, and we started with a cancer trial using water-only fasting. And we thought, of course, somebody has cancer, they're going to be motivated to do this, and they're not going to have a problem with 5 days of water-only fasting. But we were wrong. So it was the US government that eventually, and the National Cancer Institute, and eventually the National Institute on Aging, that funded research for the fasting mimicking diet.
Longo created the Fasting Mimicking Diet, or FMD, a meal plan that's formulated to stimulate a fasting state while providing nutrients and calories through small amounts of food.
The fasting mimicking diet is a high-fat, low-protein, low-sugar, low-calorie diet, and starts with 1,100 kilocalories on day 1, and it drops to about 800 kilocalories on day 2, 3, 4, 5, usually between 70% to 90% compliance. So most people don't have a problem doing this once a month or so for a number of cycles.
The FMD's calorie restriction mimics the body's physiological response to traditional fasting methods. But it's not as simple as just restricting calories. Longo and his team spent years perfecting nutrient combinations that can be consumed without triggering the body's food-sensing pathways.
You place a system on a fasting mimicking diet and the system starts to shrink, and what we're seeing is that the damaged components are being removed first. And then we thought, well, if this fasting mimicking diet preferentially kills damaged components, rebellious components, is it possible that it'll go after the cancer cells, the autoimmune cells, the insulin-resistant cells? For the past 10 years, we've been focusing on that and finding that...
What happened? It ended by itself? Okay, that's strange. How many minutes went on that? Do you know? Okay, so it didn't play all the way. Okay, so all right. It would be helpful if they could see the entire thing. So let's try that again.
Malocchio is a blue zone. These are regions of the world where people live much longer and healthier than the average. The oldest person recorded here was Salvatore Caruso. He's what you'd call a super centenarian, having made it to 110. He passed away in 2015, but not before assisting those in search of eternal youth.
I think Salvatore has been an inspiration, right, to say, well, I followed this person for the last 50 years of his life or so, and he made it to 110 healthy. So I've seen 110 healthy. I've seen it with him, but it's not going to be doable for the entire world population. It's going to be doable, I think, for the people that listen and follow all the right moves.
Valter Longo has spent the past 2 decades identifying the optimum foods and fasting practices for living healthier and longer. Now he's preparing for his largest human study to date, here in a remote Italian town famous for centenarians.
This clinical trial that was just funded by the European community is going to take 500 people, and it's going to split them into 2, and it's going to allow half of them to sort of have the bad modern habits that are very different from those of the centenarians. So we take half of them and we let them have this Western-like diet, and we take the other half and we bring them back to the longevity diet.
Longo created the longevity diet by combining scientific research and lab work with the study of centenarians around the world. Longo will also be testing his fasting mimicking diet, which offers the benefits of prolonged fasting without having to actually fast.
Fasting has been done for thousands of years, of course, but we now had to move away again from these ideas, words like eating or fasting. They both mean very little, and move into exactly what do we eat and how do we fast. So it shouldn't be about, now we're going to turn everybody into a biohacker and use technology and distort everything. Instead, we should learn from the past and unite that with the science.
Intermittent fasting, time-restricted feeding, and calorie restriction are just some of the popular methods being adopted. And while cutting down on meals has long been viewed as a weight loss hack, it's increasingly being practiced as a measure to delay the aging process and stave off chronic diseases that accompany it. Studies have shown it has the potential to protect against a range of age-related diseases, diabetes, heart disease, and cognitive decline, to name a few. But one hurdle remains. Very few people want to do it.
Have you done it yourself?
I've done it myself, yes. I've fasted for 4 days several times, and to me it was very tough, yeah.
Longo began his research in the early 90s, identifying the genes associated with aging and how nutrients affect them. Longo tested different fasting methods and their effect on longevity in organisms ranging from yeast to mice to humans. He found that cycles of fasting and refeeding cause multi-system regeneration, enhanced cognitive performance, and the potential to prevent and treat disease.
It's hard to imagine something that would do more to a person than fasting if you look at gene expression. So if you look at how the genes are activated or not.
One of the key mechanisms at play is a process known as autophagy, which literally means self-eating. During autophagy, cells destroy viruses and bacteria and get rid of damaged structures in order to regenerate newer, healthier cells. Damaged cells can speed up aging and lead to cancer if they're not destroyed, so this process is vital to health and lifespan. The best known way to activate autophagy in humans is fasting.
We started with water-only fasting, and we started with a cancer trial using water-only fasting. And we thought, of course, somebody has cancer, they're going to be motivated to do this, and they're not going to have a problem with 5 days of water-only fasting. But we were wrong. So it was the US government that eventually, and the National Cancer Institute, and eventually the National Institute on Aging, that funded research for the fasting mimicking diet.
Longo created the Fasting Mimicking Diet, or FMD, a meal plan that's formulated to stimulate a fasting state while providing nutrients and calories through small amounts of food.
The fasting mimicking diet is a high-fat, low-protein, low-sugar, low-calorie diet, and starts with 1,100 kilocalories on day 1, and it drops to about 800 kilocalories on day 2, 3, 4, 5, usually between 70% to 90% compliance. So most people don't have a problem doing this once a month or so for a number of cycles.
The FMD's calorie restriction mimics the body's physiological response to traditional fasting methods. But it's not as simple as just restricting calories. Longo and his team spent years perfecting nutrient combinations that can be consumed without triggering the body's food sensing pathways.
You place a system on a fasting mimicking diet and the system starts to shrink. And what we're seeing is that the damaged components are being removed first. And then we thought, well, if this fasting mimicking diet preferentially kills damaged components, rebellious components, is it possible that it'll go after the cancer cells, the autoimmune cells, the insulin resistant cells? For the past 10 years, we've been focusing on that and finding that.
Okay. We're not going to play it a third time. For some reason, it stopped abruptly. But in essence, what he was saying is that they discovered that the same benefits that one would get from this fasting mimicking diet, as he described it or as he termed it, they discovered that you get some of the same benefits as if you were fully fasting. So it's like you're tricking your body into believing that it's on a full fast. Now, where some scientists disagreed, and this is what you did not get to hear at the end of that clip, is that he is saying that we know that this works, but we are not saying that it should work in isolation, that perhaps we should look at incorporating this with traditional medicine. So as an additional form of treatment for a disease. So in other words, you are, let's say, a cancer patient, and you do this not in replace of medical treatment, but you do this in addition to whatever medical treatment you are on. And some scientists believe that that is going in the wrong direction and defeats the purpose, because the whole purpose, they believe, of fasting is to allow the body to do the work itself. Now, y'all know, those of you who watch this show frequently, that I am a proponent of the body being able to correct itself. And I agree with I agree with the scientists who fall on the side of saying, no, that's defeating the purpose. Give the body what it needs by way of fasting. And I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but in other words, the opportunity to heal itself without having to do the work of digesting food. Because in essence, when you restrict the food that you're intaking, it gives the body a break from being responsible for that process, and it's able to focus its full attention on fixing whatever the condition is that you're battling. And so there is a set of scientists who argue, no, it doesn't make sense to say, let's get a person to fast so that they can take their medication along with the fast. That defeats the purpose. The whole purpose of the fast is to give the body a break so that it can naturally do what it was designed to do, which is to heal itself. Well, y'all know that that is my thing. That is what I firmly believe our bodies are capable of doing. So hopefully this clip won't end abruptly. I'm going to play it, Jason. But this gives you the flip side of what scientists believe, some scientists believe, as it relates to the power of the body's ability to heal itself once we introduce the whole concept of fasting.
While Longo and his team see promising results among patients suffering from a variety of diseases, he stresses the FMD is not an alternative to drugs. Instead, it works most effectively in combination with them.
And I think that the doctor of the future is going to need to know a lot more about these, and especially now that in the United States, healthcare costs are approaching about 20% of the GDP. So this is not sustainable, and food obviously is the best way to go.
Having gone through 30 clinical trials, the FMD is in the process of getting FDA approval.
For cancer now, we have just gone to the FDA and filed what's called an IND, so to make food into a drug, right? So how can food be now used for cancer patients?
Longo has developed a meal delivery service called Prolon, which people can buy the meals for the FMD, and he recommends speaking to a medical professional before starting. He says he donates all his profits from Prolon to research.
Well, first of all, I think Volter is wrong. But he and I have always disagreed on pretty much everything.
David Sinclair is another heavyweight in the field of longevity and represents the conflict that still exists within this scientific community. While the pair agree on the biological mechanisms at play during a fasting state, they disagree on which are most important and the best way to activate them.
If there's one thing I would recommend in midlife to do that could extend your lifespan, it's fasting. My colleagues and I find that it's not so much how much you eat and what you eat, it's when you eat. And so you don't always be fed, don't always give in to those hunger pains. I drink tea, and I actually don't eat probably till late lunch or dinner every day as a way to get those body defenses going every day.
On an average day, Sinclair fasts for 22 hours, eating just one large meal. He encourages long daily fasts to instigate a biological process called hormesis. Hormesis is the adaptive response of cells and organisms when the body is put under moderate stress. Short bursts of stress, such as fasting, stimulate the body's mitochondria, which convert food and oxygen into energy for cells to use. The body's mitochondria play a crucial role in supporting major organs, but its functionality decreases with age. Hormesis has been found to improve the mitochondrial performance, therefore improving life and health span.
These processes that we're studying, these basically enhancing our own innate defenses against disease, they exist within us. And we don't need medicines to turn them on. We can skip a meal, we can become exhausted from running, we can lift weights, we can eat the right foods, focus on plants, this kind of stuff. And we actually know, just like epidemiologists have figured out, that these are the things you can do to enhance those defenses.
While Longo acknowledges the role of hormesis, he suggests there may be downsides to this kind of fasting.
For example, now we know that if you fast every day for 16 hours and then involves skipping breakfast, that can actually be negative for you in the long run, and there is association with a reduced lifespan. We also know that if you fast for too long, your metabolism could slow down, which may make it difficult for you to maintain a lower weight.
While experts in the field may disagree on specifics, they're all agreed on one thing. Disinformation around fasting is a major concern.
It's unfortunate, 99% of what's out there is complete rubbish. And so what I'm trying to do as a service is to speak to the public and say there is this group of scientists who are publishing in the world's top journals that really are making progress in this area. And while we don't have anything to prescribe just yet, it is coming soon, and certainly there are things you can do in your lifestyle, with your lifestyle, that'll get you ready for when those come.
All right. So the good thing is, like he said, you don't have to wait for all of this science, clinical research and all that kind of stuff to begin benefiting from fasting. This is something that you can actually begin benefiting from now. So again, you have to make sure that you prepare yourself to go on a fast. This isn't something that you just up and do without knowledge, because if you do it wrong, you can hurt yourself. Okay? So number one, like I said, you have to mentally prepare yourself that you are going to restrict intake of calories, and make sure that you internalize that thought so that your body gets the message. Now, when you first start doing this, I'm not going to lie, it's going to be hard. I know the first 1, 2, 3 times I tried fasting for just 3 days, the first 2 days I thought I would die. I'm like, this is crazy. Who does this? By the third day, if you can get past the first 3 days, you're good to go. Most people only fast though for about 3 days. But if you decide to go on an extended fast, I'm telling you, you just got to get through those first 3 days. After that, you literally lose your appetite for food. You just won't be hungry. You can walk around people who are eating or cooking, and you will not even be bothered by it once you get past those 3 days, because it's like your body finally gets the message after 3 days. Okay, guys, we've been crying out for food. She's not responding. we need to go to plan B. um, and you literally will lose your appetite. The longer you go in a fast, the less you will have a desire for food. It's a weird thing. And this is what I think makes it easy to go on extended fasts, because after the first 3 days, you just lose the desire to eat, because your body finds a way to start to eat on the stores of fat within your own body, and creates its own sugar to feed off of. So prepare yourself mentally that this is something you're going to do. If you are under the care of a doctor, check with your doctor first. Okay, make sure you're doing this with the knowledge and approval of your doctor, particularly if you're on any kind of medication. Make sure that your doctor is aware of what you are doing. That is very, very important. If you're not on any kind of medication, you're not seeing a doctor, the only other time that you need to be, well, you should be seeing a doctor in this condition, is if you're pregnant or breastfeeding. You need to be, aware of that. And some people do not recommend fasting for children. If you decide to go on a fast, you need to, number one, prepare yourself mentally. Number two, prepare yourself physically. What do I mean by that? Make sure that you have adequate herbal tea on hand. If you're going to be doing a fast that includes juice, make sure that you get sufficient of the right type of juice, because you don't want to drink the juice cocktail or stuff out of a can. That is not good. You want to get one of the juices that I can recommend is the raw apple juice, not the clear one, which has been overprocessed, but the raw apple juice is good. Make sure that it doesn't have a very high artificial sugar content. So the raw natural apple juice or natural cranberry juice is very good, because cranberry juice actually helps to cleanse the blood. Okay. And you want to make sure it's herbal tea, and it's not caffeinated. So do your best to find tea that doesn't have caffeine. So herbal teas are really, really good for that. And if you don't have the funds to go buy herbal teas, if you have an avocado tree growing in your yard, go pick some of its leaves. There are a lot of trees growing around that we can actually make tea from the leaves. Avocado tree is one of them. I have a big spice tree in my yard, and I use the leaves from the spice tree to make tea sometimes. Although with those leaves, you got to be careful, because if you steep it for too long, that could be really, really powerful. Your tongue will literally start to get numb if you steep it for too long. But we have a lot of trees right around us that you can actually use the leaves to make herbal tea. And so make sure you have all of your supplies ready. And you want to make sure that you have sufficient, good, clean water. And it should be room temperature water. And then if you don't live alone, let your family know what you're doing, so that they can support you to the place where they won't constantly be trying to get you to eat or offering you food, simply because they don't know that you've decided to go on a fast. So let them know, okay, I'm setting aside the plate for a couple of days, so I'm going to isolate myself. Please do not offer me anything to eat, that kind of thing. Make sure you have their support in that way. And read up as much as you can about fasting and the benefits of it, and more so how to do it safely. Okay? You're not supposed to be drinking things like hot chocolate. Then you might as well eat. That's defeating the purpose. Okay? And like I said, there are several different types of fast. So you may do just a sun up to sundown fast. Thereafter, you can eat, or a vegetable fast where you fast for a certain period and then you only eat vegetables, steamed vegetables or something like that. That's called the Daniel fast. So make up your mind as to what kind of fast you want to do, and then prepare yourself, have everything that you need to actually go through with it. And then be prepared for a battle, especially if you're not familiar with fasting. Be prepared for a battle. This is your way of showing your body who's the boss, because your body will try to take over and really give you some hell. You have to make sure that you are constantly drinking the water and the tea and the juice, whatever you have on hand. Make sure you stay hydrated, okay? Because if you don't, you run the risk of becoming severely dehydrated, and that could be dangerous. All right. So we're going to take a break. On the other side of the break, I think we're going to go straight to the clips from Dr. Berg, talking about more so about, not terminology, but the way you should fast and what you should do, particularly as it relates to combining fasting with a keto diet, which he believes is more effective than anything else. So we're going to talk more about that on the other side. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting sugar-free berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rim, fix, and tire.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here on this Wellness Wednesday. We're talking about the benefits of fasting, not from a spiritual perspective, because it definitely has benefits there, but strictly from a scientific, biological, physical perspective. The telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, or our WhatsApp line to send us a message, 801 0271. 801-0271 is the number where you can message us. And we will go ahead and read your messages from there, as well as if you make a comment on Facebook that we find interesting enough, we'll put it up on the screen. So we're talking today about the benefits of fasting for the body. And there are many. Is that a caller for the show? Yes, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hi, you on the air?
Hey, hi. Yeah, I could hardly hear you. You're very low. My phone turned up to the highest. Okay, Michelle, I agree everything you're saying about the herbal tea, but now you got to, our folks here in the Bahamas like so much sugar. I don't see why people want to put sugar in herbal tea.
That defeats the purpose. If you're fasting, that defeats the purpose. You don't want to use sugar. I said, if you're fasting, you don't want to use sugar. That defeats the purpose.
No, definitely. And so, like, I use, like, grass, like you said, the guava leaf tea, the avocado leaf tea, soursop, all of those teas that I use. And like I said, I don't put sugar in anything that I use. I like the only time I like agave or something like that is when I buy a bread pudding from one of the health places and they might use agave. But otherwise than that, I don't use sugar at all.
It's an acquired taste, I find now that I've been off of sugar now for years. And I find now that when if I go out, say to a family gathering and they have lemonade and I take a sip of the lemonade, it tastes like syrup to me because I'm so used to now not having that amount of sugar. And everybody's like, but it don't taste too sweet to me. And I have to end up adding water to dilute it because my taste buds have become so accustomed to not having that sugar.
Yeah. And another thing, Michelle, I need you one time to do a show on free radicals.
Okay.
Because it is so, and especially for athletes, it's very important because, like, if you have free radicals, like you throw a hand grenade and shrapnel, they're going all over the place.
Right.
So you need to neutralize it. So I use something called either the grapeseed, which is
grapeseed extract,
radicals.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, or I use the fulvic acid.
The what?
The fulvic, FULVIC.
Okay.
You can get it in the tablet or you can get it in the liquid form. And so that helps to fight free radicals in the body. Because free radicals, I tell people, it's like your dashboard over a period of time, you can see it start cracking up.
Mm-hmm.
Or that's free radicals. And then also, when you cut what it is, and it starts to turn brown because of the air, that's free radical.
Oxidation,
If you squeeze lemon on it, you know that it wouldn't turn brown.
Right.
Because, that helps to fight the free radicals in the body. Another thing, Michelle, I don't really say fast. That's because I do marathon training and, I'm out there thumping the road 10, 8, 15, 16 miles up to 22 miles of running. And I need all the nourishment that I can get in my body so you could get pretty weak and say you go again, you fasting and say as a marathon runner, because you're training, you go into the gym and all of that, you even need that strength.
You'd be surprised to know how fasting would be able to benefit you. You don't have to fast just before you run, but fasting could definitely be a benefit to you, for sure.
Yeah, but I'm talking about when you're going on those long treks, like say 16, 17 miles, you need, because what I do, I take like a banana or almond butter and I use that, before I run in the morning, get up like about an hour and a half or so. So that'll be my nutriment there in the body to help me, to sustain my run. And the only thing I use, Michelle, is coconut water or the water with a little bit of Himalayan pink salt. That's all I use to hydrate with. And then with the water, I might put a little bit of chia seeds in it because it gives you the stamina and everything and the energy. So that's what I use as to hydrate because it holds like 9 times its weight in the water, the chia seed, so you don't get dehydrated as fast. And with the sea salt, you know, because it has the 92 minerals, so all the electrolytes and everything like that, so you wouldn't get crump or anything, you know, like that. So you're still on the journey, going to the gym and everything?
Now, see, you trying to eat up my time going where I don't want to go today. So
Okay. All right, but
let
funny
me get back to my topic at hand, please, because
Okay.
you know we're talking about fasting today, okay? But I appreciate you calling.
All right.
Thank you so much for calling. All right, so let's get back to the topic at hand. We're talking about the benefits of fasting today. That's what we're talking about. And out of anything, these are the words of Dr. Berg. Out of anything you could possibly do for your health, fasting and intermittent fasting are arguably the most important thing you can do to create more health. So, on the flip side, snacking and continuously eating is one of the worst things you can do for your health. And if you find yourself running into a plateau, or if things aren't going as smoothly as you'd like during your efforts to either lose weight or regain your health from some other chronic disease, his advice is that you should consider going back to basics. And one of the basics is what we talked about earlier, delaying breakfast. Remember, I said everybody fasts. You break the fast with the first meal of the day. His recommendation, because he is an advocate of combining intermittent fasting with the ketogenic diet, is that you delay breakfast later than you would normally take it.
What we're trying to do is we're trying to go from sugar burning to fat burning. A big confusion that a lot of people have when they're fasting is they think their body is starving. They think it's not eating. But in reality, your body is eating when it's not eating. It's finally eating its own fat. That is why the best indicator to know that it's working is your appetite gone. Okay? If your appetite is going away and you don't have any more appetite and you're not hungry anymore, guess what? It's working. And it makes it a lot easier to stick to if you don't have an appetite. So the principle that I've talked about in other videos is you have to get healthy to lose weight, not lose weight to get healthy. That means that we're not necessarily focused on weight loss. Weight loss will come after you get healthy. But a better indicator for success is your ability to fast comfortably because you're not hungry. Like right now, it's 12 o'clock noon. I haven't eaten since yesterday at about 6:30. Am I hungry? I'm not hungry. I am absolutely not interested in any food at all. I don't want to eat anything right now. The first meal that I have will be roughly about 3:30 today. And even then, I could probably fast longer just because I've been doing it for a long time. But you want to get into a condition where the food is no longer controlling you. You're controlling your food. So many people are into this situation where the food is literally controlling their life and it's destroying their life. All right, so the first thing you need to do is skip breakfast, okay? Or start to push your breakfast further towards lunch, okay? So when you wake up in the morning, ask yourself, are you really hungry? Or are you just eating out of habit? Chances are you're not going to be hungry for breakfast, so don't eat. So the rule of thumb is don't eat if you're not hungry, okay? Now to help you not be hungry for breakfast, you have to make sure that you keep your carbs down for your lunch and your dinner, because if you have carbs in your lunch or your dinner, guess what? The next day, you're going to be hungry in the morning. But if you keep your carbs low, and I'm talking about roughly about maybe 20 grams, maybe 30 grams, then you're not going to be hungry in the morning. The other thing that you can do is you can also do the bulletproof coffee. You can add either butter to your coffee or MCT oil. Butter is very satisfying, and MCT oil will turn into ketones, so it's going to be a lot easier to go all the way up until your first meal at noon. So depending on if you drink coffee or not, if you don't drink coffee, just do a tablespoon of MCT oil. That's a type of extract from coconut oil that turns into ketones very, very fast. So the other thing you have to realize is that all these hormones are on rhythms or waves, okay? And the cortisol hormone peaks at 8 o'clock in the morning. So you may find that you're hungry in the morning because of a cortisol spike, but you're not really hungry. It's just a hormonal shift and a sensation that you get. So the next thing I'm going to recommend is if you have this minor hungry feeling, just ignore it. Ignore the hunger. 9 times out of 10, it will go away, okay? And that's just because there's certain hormonal shifts happening in the body that are creating that sensation, but just ignore it. Now, if you ignore it and it doesn't go away and you feel dizzy, tired, weak, then you need to eat. But you really need to be able to tell the difference between hunger and time to eat. But realize as you start doing this, it's going to get easier and you won't have any hunger in the morning unless you consume carbohydrates. All right, the next little thing I'm going to say is at this first meal, make sure you add some fat at the end of the meal. That can be pecans or olives or some nut butter. It could be peanut butter. It could be brie cheese. It could be fatty meat. It could be any of those. Why do you want to add fat? Because when you start doing intermittent fasting, you haven't adapted yet. And so you need the fat to help you go longer to feel satisfied so you can fast longer. Because the fasting itself and the combination of low carbs is really what's going to help you start to adapt to this new machine in your cells that's burning fat. So the same thing with dinner. You want to add fat at the end of the meal.
Now, I have to tell you, and I think I would have said this on a prior Wellness Wednesday show with regard to adding fat to that first meal of the day. And it could be where you just pop a couple of essential fatty acid capsules, omega-3, 6, and 9. What that does is it gives you this feeling of, it gives you a feeling of being satisfied because the body really appreciates that fat. And you will find that later in the day, you can go, like a really good source of good healthy fat, for instance, is eggs. And I'm talking the whole egg. And I am an advocate of farm raised eggs, not the stuff you get at the food store, but real eggs from real chickens. Excellent source of protein and healthy fat. If you eat 1 egg in the morning, 2 eggs in the morning for breakfast, I guarantee you will not be hungry 2-3 hours later because you've given the body something that it can really, no pun intended, chew on, right? But if you don't eat eggs, or if you, for some reason, didn't have eggs for breakfast, throw in a couple of essential fatty acid capsules in there, or fish oils, in other words, cod liver oil, for Bahamians who are familiar with that. I take Ultimate EFA, which are essential fatty acids from Youngevity, which has omega-3, 6, and 9. And I find that on the days when I do the eggs and I pop a couple of those EFAs, or one or the other, I'm not hungry again. Right? I can go to the store. I won't be tempted to pick up any, chips or anything like that. When you're not giving your body sufficient fat, that's what causes the craving for foods that are fatty or salty. So if you're craving by midday potato chips, you haven't gotten sufficient healthy fats in your diet. So the point that he just made about making sure that you include fat in that meal is so right on the money, because when you do that, what it does is it causes you to be able to go a lot longer without getting hungry. I've proven it. I have seen that work really, really well in my situation. So let's see what Hasheen is saying. Hasheen says there's a whole other level that is not even being touched on as far as true healing and health is concerned. However, most of your audience may not be at this time ready to handle this level of information. and holistic science takes time to explain properly. So I'm asking you if I can have a conversation with you at some time. Okay. I guess you got to leave your number somewhere, Asheen, and I'll get back to you. All right. So, so getting back to the topic at hand, healthy fat is very, very important to incorporate in that first meal. And notice I keep harping on healthy fat because there's a lot of fat out there that's not quite so healthy. So we're not just talking any fat. I'm not saying, well, Michelle said I must eat fat, so I'm going to go look for some French fries. Don't blame me for your bad habits. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about ensuring that the fats that you are consuming are healthy fats. There's a big difference. Avocados, for instance, are another great source of healthy fat. I wish I could eat them. There's something in avocados that does not agree with my system. I know that there are others out there. So whenever I consume avocados, as good as they are for you, it gives me this terrible upset stomach. And I wish I could eat them because ever since I was a kid, my whole family, everybody loves avocados. But if you see me touch that avocado, I will be sick. And I read up on it, and apparently I'm not the only person who goes through that. So there's something in the avocado that doesn't agree with my system. But avocados, for those of you who don't have that issue, great source of healthy fats. Okay? So, in the Bahamas, we like to say, cut a slice of pear on the side of that breakfast. Great source of healthy fat. We talked about the EFAs. We talked about the eggs. All great sources of healthy fats. So what Dr. Berg points out in this next clip is that you want to make sure that when you're talking about combining the keto diet with intermittent fasting, that it is a good source of healthy fats that you're eating. And you also want to ensure that you put yourself on a plan as it relates to the window of time that you give yourself to eat. Your body likes to follow, what's the word I'm looking for? Not a schedule per se, but I guess in essence, a schedule. When I was really into working out, my trainer at the time had me on a very specific schedule. We didn't do intermittent fasting. What we did was he had me on a system where I ate at exactly each day at the exact time. And my body, I ate like several meals throughout the day. Now, keep in mind that I was lifting a lot of really heavy weights at the time because he was very much into strengthening the body through heavy weight resistance. That was our method. And so I was burning off all that I was eating. He had me eating, and when I say 4 to 5 meals a day, when I say a meal could have been a handful of almonds. In between, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I had 2 meals. It could have been fruit. It could have been a handful of almonds. That's considered a meal. But at the time, I was really burning all of that off. I mean, I was really, really, very little body fat, strong as an ox. It was important that I ate at exactly the right time that I was supposed to eat. So I didn't even need to wear a watch to know what time it was, because my body was so used to eating at that particular time. So I remember one time this is when I used to work at ZNS. I had an assignment one afternoon and it ran very long and I didn't get to get lunch at the time I normally ate lunch. And 4 o'clock was one of the times that I would have a meal, 4 o'clock every day. And because of that assignment that I was on, I didn't get to eat on time. And by the time I got back to the station, I was literally shaking like a crack addict that needed a hit. I was literally shaking because my body was so used to having something at that specific time that it was like, hey, what's going on here? You don't you know it's after 4 o'clock? And so it's really important that you put yourself on a schedule so that there's a specific window of opportunity, window of time in which you eat. And in this clip from Dr. Berg, he's talking both about the healthy keto as well as that scheduling window.
Okay, what is healthy keto? Well, healthy keto is not just going on a low carb, it's using quality foods that are higher in nutrients, because the last thing you want to do is end up looking like a crackhead. And I'm being very sarcastic, but some people, when they lose weight, they sort of look very unhealthy. Their hair is dried out. They look older. We want you to look good as you do the ketogenic diet and look younger, okay? Have that healthy glow. So that's a combination of low carb, fasting, and just healthier ingredients. So there's such a thing as dirty keto, where you're not paying attention to the quality and you're eating at a fast food restaurant or fast food. And yeah, it's low carb because you're not eating the bun, but it's very, very low quality food. Don't recommend that. All right, so this first meal and second meal is called your eating window, okay? So let's just pretend your first meal is at noon and your second meal is at 6 o'clock. So that would be roughly a 6-hour eating window. Now, when you first start out, you could potentially eat during this window through here, okay? Have a snack if you want, but I would recommend or challenge you to not do that, because that way we get some fasting between these meals too, and that will help you. The snacking is the biggest killer for progress, because the snack stimulates insulin. Every time you eat, you stimulate this thing called insulin, and what we're trying to do is fix insulin resistance, which was created by a high level of insulin for a long period of time, which comes from constant eating and eating a lot of carbohydrates. Now, if you do a 6-hour eating window, that gives you an 18-hour fasting cycle. That's pretty good. If you could do 18 hours of fasting, you're going to see some amazing results, especially with your brain. You're going to grow new brain cells. And so your cognitive function, your focus, your memory, your ability to keep your attention, your creativity, all is going to improve, as well as your mood. You're going to be happier. If you were depressed, you're going to feel much, much better just because your brain is healing. Plus, your immune system is going to get stronger. You actually grow new immune stem cells in your bone marrow, which is really cool. Inflammation goes way down, and you start getting rejuvenated, you start healing faster, all sorts of amazing things happen.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we're going to talk more about why you don't want to be doing those late night snacks. And yeah, we got to talk about the veggies, y'all, because you got to eat your veggies. And we're also going to talk about misconceptions and myths that you need to be careful of if you decide to go down the path of fasting. All that on the other side. Stay with us. This is GPS on a Wellness Wednesday.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Youngevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rim fix and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blasted love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here. And this is Wellness Wednesday. And today we're talking about fasting and the benefits of fasting. During the first portion of the show, we learned how fasting has so many benefits for your health, including helping to rid our bodies of chronic conditions like rheumatoid arthritis or heart disease or type 2 diabetes, cancer. And it also is beneficial to prolonging our lives and taking us as far as 100 or further, as long as we're living good, clean, healthy lives, incorporating fasting. So it's amazing what fasting can do for the body. And that's what we're talking about today. 3260271, 3260271, 3260271, or 3260272, 3260272, 3260272 are the numbers to call. And our WhatsApp line is 8010271, 8010271 to send us a message. So you sit down, you have dinner, you have a great meal, and then you decide to snuggle up with your favorite person and watch a good movie. But what is a good movie without a big bowl of popcorn? Now, you just had dinner, but you feel you got to eat this popcorn as you watch this movie. Who doesn't love a late night snack? Everybody does. But do you know what that late night snack is doing to your body? It's not good. So if you are interested in extending your life or becoming healthier, you want to reconsider the habit of late night snacking. It goes back to what Dr. Berg was talking about in the clip prior to the break about giving yourself a specific window of time in which you're going to eat your meals. And once that window has closed, so too should your mouth as it relates to eating. You should not allow yourself to eat anything further than that time, which is why it's important, obviously, to eat well, within that window so you don't get hungry again later on. And I know a lot of times you're snacking late at night, not just because of habit, but because you're still hungry. And one of the reasons you're still hungry is because you're not getting adequate nutrients in the food that you're eating. So you've heard us talk about it on the show before, where you start to crave for certain foods, even though you just ate 2 hours before. And that is because you're not giving your body adequate nutrition. It is possible to fast and still get adequate nutrition. Okay? We're going to talk about how you do that. But whatever you do, you need to eliminate the very bad habit of snacking late at night. And here is why.
I know this might be hard to believe, but there are some people out there that have a hard time not snacking at night. Now, we're not talking about you. You probably know people or friends or family members, but this snacking at night has to go. It's called grazing. I was a professional snacker at night. I would basically, after dinner, eat constantly until I went to bed. It was constantly putting things in my mouth. And, nuts, apples, chips, you name it, that was me. So popcorn, oh my gosh. And that's very, very bad. So we want to get rid of the snacking. How do we do it? Well, we use what's called self-discipline. We have to make sure we don't buy any snacks anymore, so they're not available to us. You want to stay busy, because if you're idle and just sitting there, maybe watching TV, it's going to be more difficult. But I really think that what's going to help you is this dinner, making sure that you have a very big dinner with this fat. So you're actually really full and you don't feel the need for any additional things. But just realize, if you're like me and everyone else, you probably have insulin resistance, which means you can't absorb nutrients as well as you should. So even though you eat and you're full, you might not feel satisfied. There's a difference. Feeling satisfied is going to happen once the insulin resistance goes away, and especially if you're eating a lot of nutrient-dense foods. There are some things that you can do that will also improve that one point. Apple cider vinegar, okay? Maybe a tablespoon in your water for dinner. Apple cider vinegar has acetic acid. The biggest benefit of acetic acid is to make insulin more sensitive to help your blood sugars. So it's going to actually help you reduce insulin. That's why it can help you lose weight, but it'll also help your appetite. It'll help actually insulin work better, so you absorb more nutrients and you'll be less hungry. So apple cider vinegar in your water is really good. I would also, while you're at it, add some lemon to your water, lemon juice, okay? Maybe a teaspoon, maybe a half of a lemon, maybe a whole lemon. This way you can have things like vitamin C if it's fresh, or citric acid that can help reduce kidney stones, and if you're at risk for gout, because sometimes when you're doing fasting, your uric acid goes up, which acts as an antioxidant, but it can flare up gout. So just add the lemon and apple cider vinegar in your water when you drink this for dinner.
Okay. So another great trick is to get yourself some liquid nutrients like plant-derived minerals or a liquid multivitamin, and mix that in some water as well. And also have that with your meal. And that way you know that you're not going to be so hungry because you're giving your body the nutrition that it needs. Now, that being said, there are some other factors that are involved here. You have to make sure that your gut is healthy to absorb the nutrients. If you're not absorbing it, if it's going straight through your system without being sucked in to your bloodstream, then you're going to have a problem. So if you have a permeated gut, if you have a compromised gut, you gotta heal the gut, which means that you have to eliminate certain foods that damage the gut. But you all know the drill. We've been over this many, many times as to what foods you should eliminate, what you should do to heal your gut. So considering that you have a healed gut, it is very beneficial to you to get a liquid version of your supplements, good, healthy, plant-derived nutrition as well. And that will help you to not crave all of the snacks after you have dinner, after your window of eating has closed. You have to eat your veggies, people. Your mother was right. Eat your vegetables. What never ceases to amaze me is when I go to family gatherings or gatherings with friends, and there's nothing green around. They got all the starch. You got your rice. You got your potato salad. You know how we eat in the Bahamas. You got your macaroni and cheese. You got your tree meat. You got plantain. What else? What else, Jason? What else we put on the plate? And I look for something green. I can't find anything green to eat because we act like we'll go into convulsions if we eat vegetables. But you got to eat your vegetables. Your mother was right. And here is Dr. Berg to explain why it is important when you're talking about this whole movement towards intermittent fasting, that you do eat vegetables, leafy green vegetables, when you eat to help better aid in this whole process of achieving ketosis, to work along with the fasting that you do.
I highly recommend you consume more vegetables. And I'm talking about like a big salad. I will do my big salad either in the first meal or the second meal. Now, my meal is actually about right here. So I might eat at 3 and then at 6. So I have a very, very short eating window. It's hard for me to eat all the calories in one meal, so I spread it out within like maybe 3, maybe 4 hours. But that's just me. I just want to focus right now on not necessarily going beyond this 18 and 6, but let's say you're eating at 12 and 6. To make it easy, you can add a salad right here and a salad right here, or you can just have a very big salad. The salad that you eat should be eaten in the beginning of the meal. Why? Because if you eat the protein first, I have found that the chances of you eating that salad are going to be slim to none because you're now filled up with the protein. So I always recommend eat the salad first and then eat your protein and fat second. It seems to work. But again, that's just a minor point. Now, why do we need the salad? Well, it's going to give you more potassium and magnesium, which is going to help that insulin problem I talked about. Also, it's going to give you energy. Also, it's going to prevent cramping in your legs. And it's going to prevent keto fatigue, etc., etc. The fiber in the vegetables feeds the microbes. And that's what the microbes live on. So you're feeding your microbes, they get to eat something, and then what they do is they change it into a type of fat, which actually is really good for your blood sugars. So I found that if I don't consume large salads, that I don't feel quite right. In fact, it's harder to get into keto, and it's not going to go as smooth. Also, the vegetables are really good for your liver, and you're just going to feel cleaner if you do that. And you can switch it out. You can have just vegetables, okay, sometime, or just a salad other time. If you do the vegetables, you don't need the quantity. You don't need 10 cups of like broccoli, right? So you do smaller, maybe half the amount. And then for salad, because it's not as dense, you can have more of that. The salads, the apple cider vinegar, eating more fat at the end of the meal is going to help you avoid this snacking.
So when it comes to the time of the window that you do eat, if you're intermittent fasting, the salad is really, really good because in addition to what he just described, it can also help to be in the Bahamas, say clean you out, and helps to get things moving. And that is good for the skin. It's just really good for you overall. Now, if you have decided to do a Daniel fast, again, the Daniel fast is where you just eat vegetables. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go read the story of Daniel in the Bible. So salads are really good on a Daniel fast. So you can eat salads. For one sitting, you can eat steamed vegetables for another sitting. And I highly recommend that you avoid the salad dressings that you buy in the store when you're talking about doing any kind of fasting, a Daniel fast or otherwise. because most of them have certain chemicals in there that you don't want to put into your body when you're trying to cleanse your body. So if you don't want to do salad dressing at all, a really good hack, a really good tip is you can squeeze some lemon juice over your salad as in replace of salad dressing and a little bit of salt. You'd be so amazed at how delicious just lemon and salt can be on a salad. When somebody first told me to try that, I was like, lemon and salt? I don't know. But when I tried it, I was like, oh, this is pretty good. So that way you can keep a very pure fast, as opposed to pouring all that bad stuff on your salad. Because, a lot of people say, oh, I had a salad today. But when you look at the contents of that salad dressing they pour on there, they may as well have had a burger because the salad dressing itself was the problem. So if you are going to go on a Daniel fast, or if you're going to go on an intermittent fast where you are going to be eating salads at some point, I highly recommend that you do not do dressing, particularly the ones that you purchase in the store, but you just do a little bit of freshly squeezed lemon juice and a pinch of salt. And you will find that it is quite delicious, okay? Because you really don't want to, sabotage your efforts by eating stuff that's processed that you buy out of the food store. Okay, so there are some things that you should be concerned about that may not be as bad as what you think. Again, you have to make sure that if you are fasting, that you're doing it the right way so as to not cause yourself to become ill. But there may be a time when you're fasting to become healthier, but it seems like things are going in the opposite direction. So for instance, let's say you start fasting, and remember now I said to do this with your doctor's knowledge, and you go to your doctor and your doctor says, what are you doing? Your cholesterol is up. And you say, but how can that be? I've been fasting. Should my cholesterol levels go down if I'm fasting? Well, there is a possibility that it may head in the opposite direction. But as opposed to stopping the fast because you think something is going wrong, realize that this could very well be a sign that not something that you should be afraid of, in other words. So here again, with our final clip of the show is Dr. Berg talking about what happens if something like that happens while you're fasting. Let's say your cholesterol level starts to go up. Do not be alarmed.
Now, I want to just mention something about cholesterol because this question keeps coming up over and over and over and over again. What happens if my cholesterol goes up? It happens with a percentage of the population. Usually it goes down, but in some people it goes up, like my wife. And people are concerned. They go to the doctor and like, oh my gosh, my cholesterol is high because I'm eating all this fat. Well, if you really understand what's happening, it's not going to be that scary because when you burn fat, a certain portion of that fat is cholesterol. So it's composed of triglycerides, which you use for energy, but also cholesterol, which you don't use for energy. You don't burn cholesterol. So the cholesterol in the fat has to come out, has to go somewhere, right? I mean, the whole goal is to burn your fat reserve. So we have to get the cholesterol out somehow. So it has to go through this thing called the liver, okay? It comes to the liver. And if you don't have enough liver function or you don't have enough bile for some reason, let's say you don't have a gallbladder, or let's say you have a fatty liver and you're not producing enough bile, then you may have a little backup of cholesterol. So the more bile you have, the easier it is for your body to get rid of this excess cholesterol. But even the fact that your cholesterol is high and you don't have the bile to break it down or get rid of it as fast as you would like, realize if you went to do an advanced lipid profile test and you found that you have high LDL, there's a couple different types of LDL, and you're going to find that the high LDL that you have is the large particle size. It's not the small, dense type of LDL. So The small dense type is the dangerous one. You're not going to find that. You're only going to find that if you're doing high carbs, okay? So I wouldn't worry about it, but if you are concerned, you can do the test and you can see for yourself.
Okay, so real quick as we try to wrap up the show, I only have 9 minutes left. Remember that there are some misconceptions out there as it relates to intermittent fasting and what you should and should not be eating. Avoid snacking. We discussed that at length. We covered that at length, and why? Because it spikes insulin. Remember, carbs, even a little bit of carbs, can be problematic. So they can knock you out of ketosis for a good amount of time. Even say just half a glass of wine can knock you out of ketosis for 24 hours. So imagine what a couple of drinks on the weekend will do. That'll knock you out of ketosis for the entire weekend, and you won't be burning any fat. So it's a mistake to only look at calories, not realizing that not realizing the hormonal effects of different types of food when you do eat in intermittent fasting. Another myth or misconception is that, especially if you're trying to heal some condition, that it all happens quickly. Oh, this is a quick fix. I can't tell you the amount of people who we get on a program, and then 2 weeks later they come back and they say, well, how come I haven't lost 10 pounds yet? Or how come I haven't seen this difference yet? And I say, how long do you think it took for you to develop the condition that you have? Did that happen in 2 weeks? Of course not. So it's going to take time. You have to give it time to work. This is not a quick fix. This is not where you do it for 2 weeks and then go back to your old bad habits. No, that is not what this is about. The number of years that an average person has eaten poorly is a long, long time. So you've likely developed insulin resistance, and it's going to take more than just a couple of days to fix that. So give it some time. Give it time to work, because it's going to take some level of effort. I always tell people that when you are trying to heal holistically with nutrition, you have to go at it hard. You're not going to pop a pill and it'll be done with. This ain't that kind of party. You're going to have to work at it. You worked at becoming sick, you're going to have to work at becoming well. It's not a quick fix. But if you have patience, if you give it time, you will see the results that we've been talking about on this show today. And the last misconception is when we hear it all the time. Oh, they like to say this in the Bahamas. When they ask you, what did you do to lose all this weight? Or what have you been doing? Your skin is what. And then when you tell them what you're doing, they're like, well, child, I ain't going through all of that because I believe everything in moderation. It ain't going to kill me if I have just a little bit of this. That is not necessarily true. Because a little bit of poison every now and again adds up to become a lot of poison. And what you need to realize that is eating bad in moderation is still eating bad, eating poorly. And you're still doing the damage to your body. You're still killing yourself. It's just over a longer period of time. So I don't believe in that whole philosophy of everything in moderation, because everything could include the bad. And if you are trying to reverse a chronic condition, if you're trying to live a longer, healthier life, you cannot take the approach of everything in moderation, because not everything is going to incorporate the bad. And you're trying to eliminate the bad, because the bad is killing you, whether you realize it or not. It's just a slower death. So eliminate that thought from your mind, everything in moderation. That's not true. It is a misconception that it's a lie that we sell ourselves to be able to continue to enjoy the bad foods or the substances that we know aren't good for us. This is our way of lying to ourselves and saying, well, I don't do a lot of it. I only do a little bit. So this little bit ain't gonna hurt. That's not true. Make up your mind, people. If you decide that you want to be healthier, then you're going to have to make some tough decisions about the changes you have to make in your lifestyle. There is no mixing one with the other. Oil and water don't mix. You don't believe me? Go see what's happening in Exuma right now with that terrible oil spill. Oil and water don't mix. So you can't have both. Decide, I am going to do what I need to do to be healthier. And if at the end of the day, you'd figure, like one client told me one time, she said, Miss Malcolm, and we were making good progress. She was getting healthier. She came to me one day and she says, Miss Malcolm, it's not you, but I just want to eat what I want to eat. And I'm like, but you're getting better. Yeah, but I want to eat what I want to eat. What do you say? That's a choice that she made. I would like to encourage you today to choose life instead of choosing death. Choose life. Choose to do what you need to do to be healthier. And a major part of that, believe it or not, is fasting. You would be amazed at how much healthier you will become if you incorporate fasting into your life. So I want to encourage you to do some research about the different types of fast. And if you figure you can't handle the no solids right off the bat, because it ain't easy in the beginning, I might as well tell you it's hard, then start off with a Daniel fast, an intermittent Daniel fast, where you restrict eating for certain hours, and then in the window of eating, you only eat vegetables. Try that. Start off there, and then work your way up to a daylight fast, where you don't eat while the sun is up, and you only have a meal later in the evening. And then work your way to a full fast where you do just liquids, water, herbal tea, juice, even if it's just a day. And then work yourself up to 2 days. And then work yourself up to 3 days. And you do that often enough, you'll get to the point where you can get beyond the 3 days and you won't have a problem doing an extended fast. I'm telling you, we used to do it every year at BFM. And I went 14 days. And the only reason I broke that 14 days is because my mother begged me to eat because I had lost so much weight. And she's like, please break this fast. And so I said, okay. For her, I broke it after 14 days. The church used to do 21 days every year. So do it for yourself. Do it for your loved ones. Do it for your children who you want to spend more time with. Get yourself healthier, people. Read up on fasting and see how you can incorporate it into your life. My time is gone. Tomorrow, we're going to have the bus drivers in the house who are going to make their case for why you should consider spending a couple cents more so that they too can live. We're going to talk to the bus drivers tomorrow. That's my time. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for sharing your afternoon with me. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.